I'm going to modify this, the title screen. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to objTitle. So now there's a objTitle is an incident which occurs in the room title. So if we look for that, or sorry, room menu, and as you can see, it's located here. So you can either access it by finding it in the objects folder, or you can just go directly to the rooms folder. Either way, it doesn't matter. So there's several parts of the title screen that you can modify. Well, you can modify all of it, but if you don't want to change the exact architecture of it, there's just a few things you can modify in terms of colors and stuff. So here you have in the create event, you have a number of things which basically, as create events do, they initialize things. So I'm gonna just comment this code up, and I'll explain it to you as I go. So this first thing, as is already commented, it disables basically the Steam control. So at the beginning of the very beginning of the game, you'll be asked to if you want to initialize Steamworks or not, and if you click no, then this basically turns to 0, and if you click yes, then it turns to 1. So by default, it's 0. So this first thing is initialize Xbox controls, and this is pretty self-explanatory, so that just controls that. This next part loads volume. Weight is just a variable that is used for general commands. Alienware is specifically it basically is tied to a number of scripts. This Alienware Pink, Alienware Red, and I think Alienware Blue. And these scripts basically just control colors for the Alienware laptop system, or actually just Alienware keyboard systems in general. So this is relatively unimportant unless you want to modify, and if you modify, you can open up the individual scripts, for example. Like you can well, hold on. Alright, so here you can this, it's not important, we're not going to worry about it. So here these are the main controls. This loads the keys, and these are global keys that are stored in certain positions. So by default, up, down, left, right, WASD, and the restart keys are. You can change these, and it will save it to an INI file, which is used for storing various data, or generally user input data. And this will also load the keys here with this script. Global.mask load loads your saved masks. The color direction. Sorry, this is a general variable used for determining the switching of colors, and it's just a modification of the script that's dir with the col appended to it. So x equals room width 2, y equals room height divided by 3 minus 12. That just sets the x and y coordinates. You can mess around with that, but I wouldn't recommend you to. As you can see here, this is the dir I was talking about. Generally, you don't want to mess with this, so we'll just ignore all of these. Global.shake. It introduces the global shakes, the global variable shake. And now you have your various things here, which is the text of the start control. So actually, we can yeah. So these various alts. Alt is an array, which contains the what's called the 5 options that you have, excuse me, which is start, continue, chapters, options, exit game. So you can change the text within this. Continue will basically, okay, if you click start game, it will load automatically any unlocked content, and you will start from there. So that's That's self-explanatory. Content, if you look at this array, it'll basically be I equals 0, repeat 20 because there are 20 chapters, and if global levels, that's another array, I equals 1, then you just add 1 to it. This basically means that the option will be continue until you finish the game, in which if it's 20, it'll go to chapters. So, excuse me, there are 4 arrays, not 4 arrays, there are 4 options, not 5. So this will be continue if the game has not been completed, otherwise level select. Options is self-explanatory, options screen, and exit game is also self-explanatory. Alright, now the actual functions of these things haven't been defined yet up until this point. So, we'll look at that when we look at the step event. The rest of this crap is just, it's dealing with surfaces. So I'm not really going to worry about these, because these are just all initializing various, what is it called? There is just initializing a number of various, variables for that it will be used either throughout this code or throughout the rest of the code. For example, here's, just data structure. The next level, you can modify this to specify what screen the tutorial, or what screen spawns when you click start game. Alright, so by default it's selected to run tutorial, but you can change it if you don't want to go to the tutorial. Alright, now here is this generates 10 palm trees. And it's basically it's what causes the palm trees to spawn in the background and basically scroll towards the horizon. And we'll look at the exact logistics of that in a little bit. But that initializes it, and all basically, as I said here, global next level. This will it's the next level, and this will determine what sequence you're in. So there are 3 sequences, and this is the part title, and the part title is basically the thing that appears in for example, in the 3 different dream sequences, right before the 3 different dream sequences. So the alarm, basically this will create a palm tree every 45 steps. So it'll just create a new one. You can change it. You can increase this to make the palm trees spawn more infrequently, or you can increase it to make them spawn more frequently. So now if we look at the step event, ignore wait. Alright, this is all Xbox controls from here until here. This stuff deals with surfaces, so we don't want to worry about that. This is keyboard behavior. Now, I don't know why you would change this, but if you really wanted to, you could. Not important. Alright, the first thing we want to be able to customize here is the font. So this is the main menu font. And by the main menu font, I mean the font of stuff like Start Game and all that crap. This is a warning that will appear when the variable level is equal to 3. You don't want to worry about this because this will rarely happen to you. So I mean, you can change the stuff you can change the stuff in here if you really wanted to, but generally there's no reason to. All right. This is the volume slider right here, and by the way, all these things are in what is it called? They're in options. So this is the music slider. And just a general explanation of what this does is it basically has a variable m volume. This is a global variable, and it's taking it and multiplying it by 100 to convert it to a percentage, or to a round percentage, excuse me, from a 2-place decimal. So for example, if your volume is like 54%, it would be 0.54, and then times 100, and then round it up. And you want to convert it to a string, and then you add plus 100, or excuse me, and then you concatenate it with a percentage sign. So basically, it'll read whatever your percentage is, plus the actual percentage, in percentage, multiplied by 100, so therefore as a percentage. and you can change the color of it here, and that's pretty much it for that. And again, these are all menu text, so you can worry about that when you want to. This is also menu. Okay, so the rest of this stuff is fairly irrelevant. Most of the stuff dealing with actually drawing the things will be done in the drawing. So here, as you can see, it basically says that if you press left, same thing as pressing A. Right, same thing. A does this. It basically moves the slider for the volume, SXEZ volume, and D moves it up. Global left pressed does the same thing as enter. At the game start, it initializes the music, it initializes Steam, the Steam DLL, excuse me, and at the room start, it basically creates, or checks to see if this mask.temporary exists, and then it deletes the mask.temporary. And in the trailer build, it would have initiated the V capture or the video capture. Alright, now the draw event is where all the stuff is drawn. So you immediately see this the color direction, and this stuff you don't want to worry about, so ignore this. If you really wanted to, you can change the what's it called? You can change the various colors contained within here. So, and this will basically change the color of the background and the various colors to which it fades. So by default, it takes a black background and merges it with a kind of like lightish pinkish color, and this is the first color. And then in the second color, what it does is it basically sets it to a kind of fuchsia aqua. So what this is doing is, if the color of the directory of the color is below 180, then it'll add 2 till it reaches 180. So if it's greater than 90, which would automatically mean it's what's it called? It's greater than 180, or excuse me, less than 180. Then you would want it would be like this weird aqua fuchsia color. If it's less than 90, then it'll be this black / pinkish color. So this is all this is doing is saying if this is under this, for example, this is like 50, and it'll just keep on adding 3 until it's until it gets to it hits a certain value. So, and these control the values which it hits. Color 2 is the main background. So this is the so imagine that this is, if you're talking about layers, this is the deepest layer. So if you set it to black, the deepest layer is going to be black, and therefore everything projected onto it will be a little bit darker. So if you change this, for example, to white, then you'll have a very sort of light scheme. And if you wanted to change it to something like orange or something, you'll have an overwhelmingly orange scheme. Color 1 is the what's it called? Color 1 is basically basically the next one after that. So it'll be this blackish fuchsia aqua color, so a kind of a deep purple. So color 1 and color 3 actually are both merger colors. So they basically are the ones that it's transitioning to, and you can mess around with any of the values in here, like any of these color values, and you can just mess around with that until it produces a color that's satisfying to you. Now, this draw rectangle color, ignore that. And this will just draw a rectangle over the screen, so the background. And it'll set it to these colors. Draw set blend mode BM add, basically, it adds the blend mode, it adds basically transparency to it. So you don't want to touch that. Now this sets the size of the palm trees. And you can see here that it's using a draw sprite general, which has these commands right here. And it's setting it at this width, this height, and these XYs. So if you wanted to, you could you can change how it spawns and where it spawns. And there's 2 of them, so that basically this top one produces it on, I think, the left, and this bottom one produces it on the right. you can change the colors of them by changing these two quantities here, C black, so if you want them white, you can change it to white. Now, if you didn't want palm trees, what you can do is you can go to object palm tree, and you see here it has this create, and here it has a step. Now, object palm tree will automatically be drawing a sprite. So here it's drawing the sprite palm trees in the object palm tree. So all object palm tree is, it's a parent class that which has no sprite. It can be any sprite you want. So right now it's sprite palm trees, which are as you can see the palm trees, but you can change it to anything you want. You can change it to, for example, in my other one, I use buildings. So if we look up object palm tree, and we can go to the title and the draw event. See here, I'm using the sprite for the object palm tree. I'm using sprite palm trees, but my sprite palm trees are actually buildings, so it doesn't matter. So therefore, it produces buildings in the background. Now back to this. So really, if you want to edit the occurrence of the objects in the background, you would do this. All this stuff is just draw set blend mode. It's the blend mode back to normal, so don't worry about that. And then all of this is just dealing with surfaces, which you don't have to worry about. You can change the font on this error warning, but I've never seen this appear at once, so I wouldn't worry about that. And the last part you really have to customize, or you really can customize, is this fade. Now, what fade does, it basically, when it merges in between, or it's the fade effect that occurs in between rooms. So, for example, if I press continue, and then it will fade, rather than just doing a direct jump cut, it'll fade into the next room. So, one thing to note is that all the colors here are opposite, because it's fading into the opposite color. So this base color is actually, now this is correct C black, but this, it's C aqua, C white. You would think it would produce a light blue kind of fade, but in fact it produces the opposite of aqua, which is like a deep purplish red, and black. So you get like this kind of very dark, sorry, not deep purple, it's like a reddish kind of. So you get this very dark red kind of yeah, it's just this dark red fade, and then here it's the same thing with. So if you want to change the colors to, for example, if you want like a red fade, you would get you would change this to green, for example, or lime, and it's the same thing here. And that's pretty much it. There's also a circle you can. Oh no, sorry. This is the automatic fade is a circle effect, and you can change the colors here. So this will reduce the opposite of navy and the opposite of aqua, both of which are very deep purples and reds. And you can change the color of that to like white or something to have a full black transition, which I don't recommend. But this sets the scan lines, and you can change the font with the font date. Oh, here it's basically, if you select the first option, it'll send you to room controls. If you select the select option, if you select 1 and the level equals 0, it'll be level select, and if you select 3, then it'll be room band credits. Now, where the those things are initialized is in this event. So you can see the level is equal to here. So level 3 is indeed options, level 2 is indeed also options, and what's it called? Level 1 is I'm actually not sure what level 1 is. Oh, level 1 is the level select. So this basically the enter function is your options menu. So here you can control the various settings or things you want in the options menu, and you can just take a look at this if you really like. It's not so essential. I mean, it is very essential to the game, but in terms of modding, it's not very essential because those are things that you would automatically assume to be in the thing. Pressing escape will basically fade out and return you to the previous screen, and all these other things are basically just initialized to move around. And that's that. Well, I hope you found this video informative.